Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Email Marketing for Small Business Workshop. Today we have a special guest, Ian. I'll let him introduce himself in a minute here. He's an expert in the email marketing workshop here. Myself, founder CEO of Digital Synergy and the program director for the Elevate Hennepin um, cohort here. Jang is off today, so I will be the moderator as well. And special thanks to Elevate Hennepin for sponsoring this program, AABRN, Digital Synergy, Ian, and Asian Media Access. Is that how you pronounce it, Ian? The logo? Is it just
Yeah, Ian. It's
okay?
basically just my name.
Yeah, branded your name. Great. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. And again, this cohort is sponsored by Elevate Hennepin. It's to support entrepreneur and small businesses in Hennepin County. Any questions, if you would like more information, you can access the links on this presentation. We'll make it available offline as well. So we will send this link to you all and also make it available on our website. And don't forget about the two incentive. If you qualify for the incentive, being a business owner in Hennepin County, you can get a free website, free 1 year domain name and 1 year hosting. So the website will be on WordPress platform. And the reimbursement grant program, Hennepin County will cover up to 75% of the cost and up to $1,500 of any type of business technology related purchase. So any questions, reach out to myself or Jane. And we'll go to the next slide. And again, this is the sixth workshop out of 8. And this will be on email marketing essentials. And if you missed any of the previous workshops, all the recordings, presentations will be posted on our website. And if you're registered already, we do send out the link to the website as well. If you need more information, feel free to reach out to us afterwards. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Any questions, feel free to raise your hand as we go through the presentation or message the chat box. And halfway in between at 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. If you guys need a 5-minute break, let us know. We could take a 5-minute break. With that being said, I'll let Ann take over and present his workshop. Looks like we have a question here. So Charlie is asking if of there any new events. So this is the last workshop that we're teaching because we've been teaching since last year already. So this is the 4th workshop that we're teaching or 4th cohort that we're teaching. And we'll check with Elevate Hennepin to see what they have planned for the next cohort. And we'll keep you all updated as well. Last week's workshop has been posted on the website today. So the link came on a little late, but it is on YouTube. We did post it on the website. Yes, all the previous webinars. If you miss any live webinars, you can still watch it offline and still get credit for that. So want to just let you all know. And just to let you all know that the cohort ends in at the end of June. So any applications for the incentive, please reach out to us before that so we can start the application process. And any questions, feel free to reach out to us offline as well. All right, Ann, go ahead, take it away.
John,
All
could I
right,
ask one more
so
question before Ian gets
oh,
started?
Yep, go
sure
ahead.
thing.
Just wanted to, you've been referencing a website. I registered today, but wanted to just make sure I understand. Is that the Hennepin County website or is that a different website?
Yes, that's the Hennepin County website. So they have a series of questions that you have to fill out. And then the website that I'm referring to is actually my website where I post the webinars on. And the webinars I include in the email. If you're signed up, then you should have a link to the previous webinar. And I'll post it on the chat box here as well. I'll send you guys a link to the workshops, the previous workshops recordings that we post. Yes, you can start the process, and then for the application, we can send that over. You can start it, and then we'll just confirm once we finish with the last one, then we can confirm that and get that process as well. So really, you just have to attend or watch 6 out of 8 workshops to be qualified. Any other questions before we get started? Okay, no further questions. Okay, Anne.
All right. So thinking outside the inbox, email marketing for small businesses. So I'm just going to run you through the table of contents we're going to talk about today. So first of all, we're going to talk about why use email marketing, what is so great about it, what sets it apart from other types of marketing, and why is it really good, especially for small businesses. Second, the different types of emails and what their different pros and cons are. So depending on what your business is, it might be better to focus on one type of email as opposed to another. Third, how to write great emails. So that just includes subject lines and body copy and all those things, and how to put them all together to get an email that people are going to read and then click, and then you'll have a sale as a result. And then fourth, how to build and manage your email list so that you have the best deliverability possible. We'll go over deliverability a bit later. And then five, finally, what are some good email platforms for small businesses? So affordable and give you a lot of functionality and things that will help you to write good emails that can lead to more sales. All right, so basically what I said. And yeah, but first, who am I? I am Ian. I'm a copywriter. I work for Brio. I own Mayhem Strength, Ben Lala's Realty, real estate company in Chicago, a few others. Marketing strategist who's worked with over a dozen small and local businesses since 2022. Author of Thinking Outside the Inbox. Figured I'd just reuse the name for simplicity. And founder and CEO of Talty Marketing, an all-in-one digital marketing agency. And because I'm not enough of a masochist, I'm also a college student, so my schedule's pretty busy. All right, why email? So first things first, email has an incredibly good return on investment. 4,400%, which basically means every time you spend $1 on email, you get on average up to $44 back. And that's because email is dirt cheap to do. All you got to do is have an email account and some software with a very small monthly subscription. You just write up the emails and send them out through that. And that's it. It's not going to cost you more than, I don't know, $20 to $40 a month. And you can get a lot more per month from that because that can be equivalent to like one sale. Depending on your business, it could be equivalent to less than that. It could be half a sale or quarter of a sale. So it has a very good ROI. And that makes it very good because very, very beneficial compared to other things like TV advertisements, radio advertisements, social media, all things that are going to require more money upfront, more investment for you to see a return. And second of all, it's 6 to 7 times more expensive to get a new customer versus keeping an old one. What this means is that with email, you are going to get people as opposed to just monetizing who you already have. And on top of that, you're going to be able to monetize people you already have. So once you have somebody through email, they're on your email list, then you're able to continue reaching out to them and building that relationship. And now you can not only have the people you already have who like your stuff, but also get new people. And then those people who like your stuff, now they're spending more money or becoming a bigger customer with new and exciting things. So it allows you to both get new customers and monetize your existing customers. So it allows you to get the best of both worlds there. And then finally, up to 90% of emails go right to your customer's inbox. And what's really key about this is that that number is far beyond what you're going to get with any other platform on social media or whatever, like Facebook or Reddit or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever. They're not going to get you more than a couple percent at best of people on the platform are going to see your material if they're looking in your market or your industry or your locality, because those platforms, they have their own goals and their own incentives, and they're not run by you and they're not affiliated with you directly. Whereas your email account, your company email account, that's yours. the people who come to that email account, they are now your audience. They're not Facebook's audience or Snapchat's audience, but they're yours. So you have a much greater ability to turn them into paying customers once they're on your email list. But also you're able to have a lot more control. So you don't have to worry about, oh, what if Facebook bans me? Or what if the algorithm on YouTube decides that they don't like my videos anymore? With email, you have a lot more control to prevent against those kinds of things happening. All right. So now that we've said that email has these many benefits, what types of email are there and what types of email will work best for what types of businesses? There's basically three kinds. You have newsletters, which are regular, informative emails that are part of like it's an informative cycle almost. So think like what a newspaper or a magazine, what those would be. It's just like every single time you have a new edition, but it's the same basic concept, and they're giving you some information and they're giving you some value, and the fact they're selling is secondary almost. That's what a newsletter is, and a life cycle campaign, that is where you have emails that are trying to sell and they are getting you to that point. So it's a progression from like, oh, hi, you're welcome to my email list or my email community or whatever. And then, oh, hey, here's some interesting stuff. And then after one or two or three emails or whatever, then it's, okay, here's something I think you would really love. Would you be interested in buying? So a life cycle campaign, it's not so much just information, information, information with like the selling being off in the corner, but it's information, information, and then the selling is up front, but it's not like right away. It's like the third thing you'd get. Way to kind of explain, think about it. And then transactional, finally, is emails that are very direct. These are automated usually, and they're responding to specific customer actions. So for example, if a customer goes to your website and they see a bunch of products they might be interested in, but they leave, they don't buy. In that case, you might have an automated abandoned cart sequence. So you send an email to that customer saying, hey, what the heck? Did you want this? Or maybe you'll say like, oh, I noticed you looked at this product, but you didn't buy it. What if we, how about what do you know? It's a 20% off all of a sudden, something like that. So it's responding to a customer's action, and it's very direct. It's meant to provoke, to lead to a sale. So you can see each of these, there are degrees of impact. Let me just move this. You can see. So there's degrees of impact from newsletter to life cycle to transactional. So newsletter is going to have the least because it's going to be the least pushing you to sell, or not, sorry, to buy if you're a customer. Whereas life cycle is pushing you to buy more, transactional pushing you to buy the most. So depending on what kind of business you're going to run, you might want to go with a more indirect or a more direct approach. So if your business is information based and it depends a lot on reputation, or it depends on a certain personality at the head, like coaching industry, for example, you might want to have a newsletter because in that sort of business model, it's much more important to be like an authority who people are trusting and who people are coming to learn things about whatever you're coaching, as opposed to just getting $50 from the latest course sale. So a newsletter would be better in that example. Transactional might be better though if you're just selling products. Like if you're a store company, a clothing company, but I guess a store company could also do this too. They would have emails that just say, hey, here's a sale, or 20% off, or Black Friday special, or whatever, and try to get somebody to buy from those. That would be much more effective for those kind of business models where you're selling a product where it's not so much about the relationship between the customer and some other person. In the middle, you might have something that is good for service-based industries. So I worked for a pest control company about like 6, 7 months ago, and this was very good for them because what they could do is they would initially have a bunch of helpful and informational content, or they would have promos or specials or community events or things coming up. So all good things that are just benefits for the person who's on that email list. There's nothing, there's no strings attached. But then over time, they would say, oh, hey, here's a sale on pest control services. Now that it's the winter, maybe there's more rodents nearby. And so now there's this new special on rodent control or something to that effect. So in that type of business model, there is a service or a product, but the relationship is important too. It's not just the relationship or primarily the relationship. It's not primarily the product, but it's a mixture of both because the product or service is something that requires not just getting it, but also trusting the person who's delivering it. It's not enough to just have pest control. It's not like a product or like an iPhone. It's something where you want to have the people who are doing it be trustworthy and people that know and can rely on. So there you can see that each of these different types of email, they have benefits for different types of business. And depending on what type of business you're doing, if it's a lot of information, if it's a personal relation type thing, or if it's products and selling things, or if it's a mixture of both, you might want to go with one of these three options. All right.
And we got a quick question.
Okay.
Can someone use all three types of email marketing strategy?
Go back here. That is a great question. Ideally, it'd be great if you could focus on all three, on appealing to all audiences. But one of the big things with email marketing is the more you appeal, the more people you appeal to, or the more types of messaging you do, the less effectively you will do each one. So it's a bit of a trade-off. So I could do, for example, a newsletter that also has like discounts and sales and things and all of this wrapped in one. And I could do all of that. But if I did it all in one email, it might not do very well because it's just trying to be everything at once and people would get confused. So I think if you wanted to do all three, the way you could do it is depending on your business, there might be subsets of customers who each different type of email will appeal to them in particular. So maybe you're a business that sells products, but you also have informational content and you also have services. So you could take your email list and you could divide it into those different types of people who would like those specific services. This is called segmentation. And so now you have your three divisions of your customer base. These people, they like informative content. These people, they like service-based. These people, they like product-based. And each of them, you give them one of those email types that'll appeal to them in particular. And then on the whole, you're using all three, but you're using each one in a way where it will be most effective. So recipes, blogs that we send, and sometimes promotional. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think this is a great example of you can do of like having focusing on appealing to different individuals in a way that will appeal to them the best in particular. All right. So here I have an example of a newsletter. This is just something I found in my email account, my inbox, and this is the kind of thing that you'll typically see. So you notice how it begins, "Hey, Ian." That's a big sign that that it's something that's more on the personal side because it's not opening with, "Here's this product, here's this discount, here's this X% off," but it has that one sentence of preview text, which is going to pop up when I see it in my inbox. And what is it using it? What is this email using it for? It's using it to make a connection, a personal connection to me, saying, "Hey, Ian, hey, whatever your name is, here's this thing that I think you're going to love." So you can already see there, it's going to be differentiated from the other types of email in that personal element. And you also, some other things that aren't so much specific to newsletters, but are just good to have keep in mind. This formatting here. There's a different paragraph for every single line. It's separated. This is a great idea for most types of email marketing because it allows you to make your stuff more readable, more digestible, and people will be a lot more likely to go through the whole thing because it doesn't look like it's going to be a big chore to read it. So one of the best things you can do beyond just what is actually in the email is how is it formatted? What does it look like? So this, I see this, I think, oh, this is like a 1 minute read. If you took all of this and just compressed it into a ball of sad just words all swimming together, it would look like, oh, this is like going to take me 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't want to do this. You know, I'm just going to read something else. So by having this formatting, you make it much easier to read and you make it so people will want to read it a lot more. And also just generally changing different things in the formatting, like one capitalized word, some bullet points and italicized. It's good to mix things up a little bit, as long as you're not going completely crazy, like purple text or whatever, or just like using different fonts every paragraph. But what's really important about these things is to have it be novel enough that it still stands out. So you only do it every now and then, it stands out more. All right. And here we have a lifestyle type email. So this is a Brio thing. So an advertisement for a product, make food that leaves an impression. So it's not so much about the personal connection. It's still there to some extent, just because I'm signed up for this email newsletter and they're sending me things and they'll occasionally send some personal stuff. But it's more about here's this product that you'll like, here's this sale, here's this whatever, buy this thing. And so you'll typically see a lot more emphasis on the product, a little bit more of a headline that's less about like, here's this personal thing or like, hi Ian, or here's this thing you might like, but more of, here is this thing that you have to have, this new product, this new whatever. It's just meant to be less about like, oh, here's this person that I love to read their emails, you know, that's really informative, and more just like, oh wow, this thing, I got to get it. So it's more about creating that itch, more just traditional sales. Okay, and then here we have a transactional email. And so you can see here, it's pretty similar to the customer lifecycle email. One of the biggest differences is this part here. Ian, you left something special in your cart. Check out now. So they noticed that I went to this website, that I looked at their products, and I didn't buy anything, and then I left. And so they had it in their algorithm to make sure to send me an email addressing me by name and saying, hey, you forgot this thing in your cart. Why don't you come back and maybe buy it? So by doing that, I'm much more likely to respond because I see, oh, they notice that and they care about my customer decisions, and they're actually going to incentivize me to buy this thing, which I was already on the fence about buying. I almost bought it, but I didn't. And now the deal is even better. All right. So since I was talking about the customer lifecycle type emails, here is the customer life cycle. So you basically have these 7 stages. Activation is where the customer just shows up in your email list. They, whatever reason, they are now part of your list. Maybe you sign them up in person or came from social media or whatever, but now you have them, they're your audience. So you typically want to start with a welcome email. That's the most, generally the best possible thing you can start with. Puts you off on the right foot, and it just is a great first impression if you can do that well. So just hello, here's what you're going to be getting. Maybe some special offer or bonus or benefit. Typically, if you have a lead magnet to get people to sign up for your emails, a lead magnet just means like a shiny little object or service that you dangle in front of the customer so that they will sign up for the email. If you have something like that, typically the welcome email is where you would deliver that, or the confirmation email. So for example, say you have a website, you have opt-in for email on the website. It's like a pop-up form, and it says, oh, you know, here's this book. Let's say it's a real estate company. Here's this book on all the things you need to know to buy your first home. And all you have to do is sign up with your email. The welcome email might be something like, oh, welcome to this real estate newsletter. You're going to learn all these things about tips and tricks for buying your first home. And also, here's the book that we promised. And thank you so much for joining, and so on and so on and so on. So something like that. Okay. Actively searching. This is typically your branded abandoned browse type campaigns. So somebody who is looking for what you're selling, but they're not quite convinced yet that you're the right person to deliver that service or to give you that product. So typically for these, like mentioned, abandoned browse campaign. So that would just be, hey, you looked at our stuff, but you didn't buy anything. Maybe now that we have this discount, you'll be interested in coming back, or would you like this other product that's very similar, or did you know that we're different than our competitors in XYZ or ABC? So typically with these, because you already have the person convinced that they want what you're selling, not just like the product, but I mean like on a more fundamental level, the thing that you're offering. So the underlying benefit. Um, Explain what I mean. Let, let's put it this way. Uh, People might not just want a car to have a car, but they might want it to have, say, freedom of mobility. So this is the customer who wants the freedom of mobility, but they're not sure you're the right car for them. That's the metaphor. So in this case, what you're trying to do is not so much say like, oh, isn't freedom so great? Wouldn't you love to have freedom to move and freedom to go about wherever you want? But you want to say, okay, we already established that you want that, but this is why my product is going to be, my car, say, is going to be the one that's going to make you the most free. It's got the best mileage, it's got the best speed, or it's got, you know, whatever, spinning rims. So uh, you want to focus more on what differentiates you from your competitors. Okay, close to purchase. This is where people are not just looking and then leaving; they're also coming really close to buying something. So this is like the people who are the closest to becoming sales. So this is especially where you want to go transactional, because you can see in this case, it's not so much like they're maybe could be interested way down the line if you just give them some value first, but these are people who they are like right there. They are on the edge. One little nudge and they would just buy whatever you're selling. And they're just not quite, they need that last push. So you don't want to say like, oh, well, here's the top 10 things you need to know about fish. If you're selling, Bass Pro email marketer or whatever, you just want to say, okay, you abandoned the cart, 20% off. How about it? And generally, that's going to get you the results that you want to see, because those are the people who are really close to purchasing. They just need one little thing to get them over the edge, to convince them finally. Because it's not so much about benefit. It's not so much about is it better than competitors, but it's just something like maybe it's price, maybe it's this or that, but they have one last hang up and you just want to get them past that. All right, purchased. So even after someone buys something, you don't want to just leave them out to dry. Post-purchase nurture basically is just a campaign where you say, oh, thank you for buying. And you check up every now and then, depending on what the thing is. If it's a product, you say like, oh, how is it go? Is it great? Do you love it? You do? Oh, could you leave a review on whatever platform it is? And oh, did you love that product? Well, here's this other one that's also really good. Would you like that too? Or if it's service, like say pest control, oh, how is your home? Is it good? Are the pests, are they there? Did they come back? Are they still have they gone away? They have. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Would you leave a review, please, for our technician? It really helps them out a lot. And also, if you knew any other people, any families who are dealing with pests, would you please send them our way, because we'd really appreciate that. Things like that. And this also goes with the loyal section, but basically somebody who's already purchased, you want to nurture that. You want to be like, oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate you and all of that, but also try and direct them towards additional purchases and referrals and things like that, where you can turn them into even more valuable customers. Okay, and then loyal customers, well, yeah, they're similar to purchase because they're just people who are consistently buying from you. So surprise and delight basically means you want to just give them something nice to reward them, because these are your ideal customers. These are the best customers of all, and you want to make sure they stay that way. So maybe it's a discount, maybe it's a surprise coupon or a free offer. One example is Brio, one of the companies I work for. They would give out free fire pits, and they would give out free accessories some of their loyal customers, or they'd have loyal customers if they had like something come up like oh, I've had this fire pit for 6 years. I've been buying your products forever, but like now it's, it's getting a little worn. I don't know, could you maybe like fix it or send me some parts to fix it? And they could send a whole new one. They didn't have to do that, but they did it because these are loyal customers and they want to show to those customers that they appreciate them. Not only that, but also to everybody else. So everybody else will think, oh, wow, this is a really great company. I could keep buying from them because they're good to their customers. Okay. Then we have lapsed purchasers. So these are people who they bought from you once or twice, but then they just disappeared. So these people, you want to win them back. You want to try and get them to be loyal customers as much as possible. So typically the best way to do this is to send them reminders like, oh, here's some new product, here's some new thing, some new service. Let them know that you're just around and keep yourself top of mind as much as possible. The idea here is sometimes these can be people who are just no longer interested in the product in general, but it can also just be people who are interested, but maybe at the moment, maybe it's their financial situation isn't as good, or they've been very busy or whatever. And so if you can just keep yourself in the back of their mind as much as possible, the minute they're finally free and they have more money and they're able to, who are they going to think about? Like, oh, right, got to buy that. You want that to be you. And so it's not so much going to immediately win them back, but by being that company that's in the back of their mind, then the second that they're able to finally think about buying X, Y, and Z, you're the one who comes to mind. Okay, and then we have lapsed engagers. So these are people who they haven't bought anything, but they did look around and they were interested, but then they just lost interest and they never came back. So what you want to do with these people is you want to do re-engagement where you start giving them value, giving them things. Maybe it's discounts or maybe it's information, depending on what the business type is, since you talked about previously. Some business types, it might be more information and value. Some it might be more offers and discounts and coupons. And if that doesn't work after a long enough period of time, generally you want to say, I'd say a couple of months, then you send them what is known as an unsubscribe pass, which is basically, so it doesn't seem like you're very interested. Would it be like, do you want to keep getting emails from us? And then if they don't respond, you just remove them from the email list. And this is good for two reasons. First of all, if there are people who have not engaged because they've been busy or whatever, this is a way to re-engage them because they're now thinking, oh, shoot, if I don't respond or do whatever, then I'm going to be off the list. And I do want to be on the list. I'm just not really using it right now. And so that brings them back to the table. Now they're engaged again. But the people who aren't interested, who really just don't care anymore, those people, you don't want them on your list because they're offering nothing of value. They are not going to buy, they're not going to engage. And every single time somebody doesn't engage with an email that you send out, that's one more red mark for the algorithm, which is now thinking, okay, well, this person didn't read it, this person didn't read it, this person didn't read it. Is it spam? I don't know. You don't want that. So you want to remove those people from your list. So generally what you want to do is, depending on the type of business you have, you want to remove any people who are inactive. At minimum, I'd say once a year, the inactive people you're removing from the list. And depending on your business, you might want to do it more frequently. But some businesses, if they're seasonal, you might be as much of a concern. But if you have a business which is very fast and very focused on just product sales all the time, and maybe more frequently, maybe once every 6 months, once every 3 months, something to that effect. But generally, the idea here is just keep your list clean. And we're going to talk about that in a bit too. Okay. Okay. So writing great emails. How do you do it? Well, this is the anatomy of an email, or half of the anatomy of an email, because the rest is on the second slide. So you have your from line and your subject line, which is pretty much just the email is from whoever, XYZ, who's sending it, what's it about. That's the subject line. And then you have the preview text, which is a little bit that comes before. And depending on your email software, you'll usually be able to put down the preview text yourself. But if you're not able to, it'll just be whatever the first line is in your body of your email. So that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to make specific preview text. One other note that could be useful is preview text will vary from platform to platform, but overall it's usually around 148, 152 characters. So depending on what your email is, you might want to keep that in mind if you want to have a certain amount of words in the email in the preview text. Or if you want to even cut it off mid-word. I've done that before. I've had marketing campaigns where I would just have an email and the preview text is some big details like you will not believe this XYZ did, and then just like cuts off mid-word. And that way it's just people are like, what did you do? I want to know. So just keep that in mind. 148, 152, something to that effect, depending on your platform. That's how many characters you'll get. And so the goal for these two, make them open the email. Simple as that. People are getting a lot of emails in their inbox all the time, and they're not going to open every single one because ain't nobody got time for that. So you got to make sure that yours is the one they open. So make sure that subject line is intriguing, has a question or raises some concern, something that they would be interested in. And depending on what your business model is, this could be an offer, this could be a discount, or this could be some intriguing piece of information. If you're doing informational content, for example, maybe it'll be some great secret or some great tip or insight that nobody else knows, and you just have to know right now. Okay. And then, of course, there's the headline and the preview pane. So the headline is going to be whatever is like really big on the email. Sometimes this is the same as the subject line. Generally, for like informational newsletter type emails, you're going to want to have very minimalist emails. So you just want to have text, plain text, maybe a little bit of formatting like italics and bullets and bold and stuff like that is okay, but you're not going to have a lot of images. So the headline will usually just be either the subject line or a piece of text that's like marked as a header and it's bolded. Whatever it is, you want to have it be short and engaging. So again, people are now clicking on your email. They've given you the benefit of the doubt. They're now thinking, okay, this is going to be worth my time to read. You want to make sure to reward that by keeping them interested and not wasting their time. So you don't want to mess around with just a bunch of long-winded and convoluted stuff, but just get to the point and keep them moving. And that's again goes back to why the paragraph formatting is really helpful for that, because it reads a lot easier, it reads a lot faster. And then preview pane, this is sort of similar to the Brio example I brought up earlier. So this would be an image that just goes a bunch of this is the product or this is the service and a bunch more details like that. The main thing for these is to make sure they're mobile friendly if you use them. And this is one reason why newsletters are very cagey about doing like big formatting things, is because mobile friendly is a really big concern. A very, very large portion of people nowadays are reading emails and things like that off of their phone. And so you don't want to make it so they can't read it off their phone, because that's just going to make them want to click off. So headline, short and engaging, preview pane, you don't have to do it. And for certain email types, it might even be better not to do it, like a newsletter, for example. But if you do, make sure it's mobile friendly. And one more thing about that, when you're checking to make sure it's mobile friendly, you're going to really want to do so using an actual phone or an actual iPad. A lot of these email softwares or CRMs or web design programs or whatever, they will have preview options for preview how it will look on a desktop or on an iPad or on a phone or whatever. And this is great in theory, but a lot of the times these aren't going to give you exact accuracy. There have been times where I have used these and it shows, oh, it looks good, it looks correct, it all is formatted right. And then I open it up on my actual phone after I send it to myself as a test, and it's just garbage. It just looks completely jumbled and messed up, because those emulators aren't able to perfectly imitate what an actual phone or an actual iPad is going to get, those limitations that we'll have. So it's a good idea always to test those sorts of things, mobile responsivity, before you send out a massive amount of emails, just to make sure that it all works and that it all looks good. Better safe than sorry. Okay, second section. So now we have the body and the back. So this is basically two parts: engaging people and then driving them to take some action. So the body should be short, have clean formatting, and be informative. And the degree of informativeness is going to depend on the type of email you're writing. So some are going to be more about just like, oh, here's this discount, here's this offer, here's this whatever. And some are going to be here's this interesting historical fact, or here's this interesting tip that will help you get more jobs, or make more money, or get a cheaper mortgage, or whatever. And so you might want to go more informative or more just like, here's this offer and you should buy it. But generally, just make sure that you are giving something. You don't want to have emails where it's just asking, asking, asking. That's the worst thing you can do. Make sure that your body copy of your email is um, giving something to the reader as much as possible so that they have something to continue reading for. And then, of course, you have the banner, which is basically the call to action. And the call to action just means it's like the part of any ad or any marketing thing where it's like, hey, buy this thing, or click this link, or do it. Just do something. This is the point where the customer, they've become interested, you've convinced them, you've persuaded them. All right, moment of truth. Now's the time. Do this thing that will now turn you from prospect to customer, full-blown paying customer. And so you want to have this generally near the bottom, and you want it to be prominent. Button's good. Text can also work, but just something that people will see and will click on, or follow, or whatever it is you want them to do. But make sure it's clear, and make sure there's only one of them. Ideally, you want to avoid having a bunch of different confusing things, because then people will click off as a result. So, really important principle to keep in mind with email is, and just in marketing in general, is if your reader is confused, they're a lot less likely to click and a lot less likely to buy and a lot less likely to do all of those things, because they're not going to know what you want exactly for them to do. And if they're even a little bit confused, they're just going to tune out of it. So you don't want to have, say, 3 banners like click this link, or buy this product, or also sign up for our Facebook page, or also XYZ. But just focus on one major thing. You can have those links in the footer as a very small section for contact info or whatever, but focus on the main thing you want your reader to do in every email, and just have that as the main call to action, big and shiny and readable. And that way they'll be a lot more likely to respond to it as a result. Okay, and then finally, don't get sued. So make sure your footer has contact information and legal disclaimers. Typically, this isn't going to be too complicated. Most email softwares include this automatically already. But if there are any that don't, you can just look through your email inbox at marketing email and see what are they including. Typically going to be copyright and all rights reserved, and simple things like that. Usually a disclaimers page or terms and conditions page on your website, if you have one of those. And then an unsubscribe button. Yes, you need one. No, it can't be 2 pixels. It can't be invisible font. It can't be any of those things. You will not only be putting yourself in legal jeopardy if you do that, but you're going to piss off a lot of people. And if they can't unsubscribe, they're just going to mark you as spam and block you. And that is so much worse for deliverability. So just make it as easy as possible. Like, don't make it like super, like, massive 50 size 50 font unsubscribe button, but make it like reasonably visible that anyone who's looking for it, they can find it. Because that way, people who don't want to get your emails, they'll leave your list, and they won't be doing any more damage to your list as a result by not reading or by marking spam or anything like that. You just want to make that as simple as possible. Okay, now we got some more email tips. So write to your audience. Basically, your audience is going to be a specific subset of people, depending on what you're selling, where you are, who you are, what your business model is. It will change the audience, the customers you have, what they are like. So this can be demographic. This could be psychographic. Psychographic just refers to psychological subsets of the population. So, for example, if you are a real estate company, your audience is going to be more on the wealthy side, because generally people who do not have a lot of money aren't going to be buying houses. Or if you run a Rolex company, also more on the wealthy side, because I presume poor people don't have a lot of money to buy Rolexes. So those people are going to be different than the general population and other specific populations. And what they respond to is going to be different as well. So you might use different language, or there might be certain terminology that people who are into real estate or looking to buy a house know or want to know, or they might have certain pain points. So, for example, the car example from earlier. If you're selling a car, you might know that one of the psychographic things about people who are looking for cars is they want freedom, or they want status, or they want reliability, or maybe they want all three, or they want one of the three. You can talk about those things. So you can appeal to reliability. This car is the most reliable ever. It will last you for 100,000 miles. You'll never break a sweat. And it's so easy to run and easy to repair, and so on and so on and so on. That is going to be a lot more effective than if you just have like, this is the best car ever. All the car experts agree. Um, and the more specific you can get, the better it gets. So if you're a car salesman who's operating in, say, Oklahoma, and there's some Oklahoma regulation that said the cars, have to be able to run at a certain uh, gas mileage, whatever, just hypothetically, you might want to put that in your advertisements about the cars. Oh, this car runs this gas mileage. And you know what? It also runs even better than that. And that will save you a lot more money in the long term. And that's something that's targeted to the people you're selling to. So it's going to be better than big car salesmen or other salesmen who aren't focusing on that. So the more you can write to your audience and get it as specific as possible, the better your appeal is going to be. So you want to just make sure that whatever you're writing is not just something that could be written to anybody in the world or to even anybody in the country or the state, but it's as specific as possible. It can even help to just think about, what if I was writing this to one person? What would that, if I took all my customers and tried to just like make one person who would be a good example of my customers, what would that person be like? And what would I say to convince them that I'm the real deal? I'm the person they can buy from, just in a conversation. That's the other thing too. Get to the point, make it readable. These things, just keep it short. Don't waste their time. People who are reading your advertisements are giving you their time. They are trusting you with their time. It's not as big of an investment as their money, but it's already still something, and you don't want to waste it. You don't want to make them regret that choice. So you want to just keep it as short and simple as possible. And also, to this note, casual tone, or at least modified tone can be very beneficial depending on who you're writing to. So not just the pain points of your audience and the words and things like that, but also how do they talk to each other, to other people, to the people they're buying from. You want to try and adopt that language to show as much as possible that you're one of them. So if you're a real estate agent, you don't want to come into a bunch of meetings just being the real estate agent necessarily. It might be more beneficial to come in as, oh, hey, I know I understand. I was buying my first home 10 years ago too, and I know that environment. And one great way to do that is through the language you use. So adopting similar language to your audience can be very beneficial too. Okay. And make it readable for phones as well, because you already went over this, but you want to make sure whatever you're doing is mobile responsive, mobile responsive, mobile responsive. So many people are reading emails nowadays with their phones, with their iPads, and if they can't read yours, they won't. And there you just lost a customer. So you want to make sure as much as possible that everything you have is mobile responsive. And one great way to do this, again, is check it on your phone or your iPad, your real phone, real iPad, not an emulator. And also, you can just make it a lot easier on yourself by, if you're using certain like newsletter types or things like that, just doing plain text or very simple HTML. You won't have to worry as much about headaches with formatting. So maybe avoid big flashy graphics if you're not sure you know what you are doing with that. Uh, if you're not like a very large, if you don't have a very large budget for that, or it's not something you're very familiar with, avoiding that already will save you a lot of hassle with mobile responsivity. Okay. One reader, one idea, one offer, one action. So this is a common copywriting thing, very applicable to email marketing and writing good emails in general. You want to make sure that every email is focused. You don't want to just be getting off on tangents or having multiple things whizzing about. That's going to confuse your audience. So have one reader in mind. And I don't just mean like one like general reader, but like one reader, like one person. So if you're, let's say I'm writing for Brio and they're selling fire pits. And they're selling fire pits to say men who are I don't know 30s or 40s or 50s or whatever, and they're outdoorsy types and they want to host cool parties that their friends and their family are going to enjoy. I wouldn't just write that. I wouldn't just write to that, but I would also say, okay, I'm going to imagine this guy, Brett Smith or whatever, and he is this 47-year-old lumberjack, and he just loves fires so much. He loved the outdoors, camper, and he wants to host for his friends and all that. And he is disappointed that a lot of the fire pits he's been using in the past weren't very durable. Now, that's a very specific reader. And as a result, I can write a very specific email. And the reason this is so effective is because by doing that, there are going to be a solid number of people in the larger audience I'm writing to who are going to be responding to that particular pain point. And it's going to be a lot more persuasive. So I mentioned this earlier, but the broader you go, the weaker your impact is going to be. The narrower you go, the stronger your impact is going to be. So by writing to one reader in particular, like an individual, you're able to have a lot of people who are reading your emails have a very like the email's just gonna hit them right where they're thinking about it. It's gonna hit them right at the pain points that they are considering, and it's gonna be far more persuasive. So it's not just, oh, buy this fire pit, but it's, oh my, this durability. I was thinking about this already. Like this is exactly what I was looking to, like what I was looking about for. I was looking for a durable fire pit. So it's much more convincing as a result. Okay, one idea. So you want to communicate one something in your email, not two, not three, not four, not a million. So if you're informing your reader, if you're offering products, or if you're saying, oh, hey, welcome to the email, whatever, like the email list, or abandoned cart, like, oh, why did you not buy this thing? Or here's this offer, so you buy this thing, whatever it is, you want to make sure there's one core idea and not just a bunch so that people don't get confused. And then one offer. So you want to have one thing that you're offering to the reader, to the audience member. So not two, not three, not four, not a million, but just keep it as simple as possible and make it, and by making it one thing also, it'll be more relevant as well. So you have one reader, there's typically one thing that they want most of all when they're looking at your type of products. So I'm selling fire pits to Brett Smith. I'm going to offer a durable fire pit. I'm not going to offer a durable fire pit and also mittens and also a webinar on fires, because that's just going to make it a lot more cluttered, and the impact of I know exactly what you're looking for and here it is lessened by doing that. So you want to have one offer, one reader, one idea, one offer, and then one action finally is just what do you want them to do? You've already figured out your reader, you figured out what you're going to say to them, you figured out what you're going to give them, and now what do you want them to do? You want them to buy? Do you want them to sign up? Do you want them whatever? Just have that and be very clear about it. And by being clear through all four of these steps, you're going to have a lot more people respond as a result. Okay. And then ask your audience questions to prompt replies. Pretty simple way to just increase your increase your engagement for your customers, and also just make the algorithm like you more. So getting replies is very, very good for your email count. It's going to help with deliverability. So if it's ever possible, if you're the type of business where that's something that could be reasonable to do, it's great to ask questions to your audience, or just like give them information and then like, oh, reply with this or that or whatever. Challenges, quizzes, surveys, things like that, or condensing them, or just simple questions. This is especially good for newsletter type emails. So if I have some informative thing about like, oh, here's this new way to get jobs a lot easier, I might say, oh, what do you want to know about jobs? Or what do you want to know about the interviewing process, for example? And I would then prompt people to reply. They reply, algorithm likes me more. These people are now more engaged, and now I can talk with them and share ideas. And not only do I get a better understanding of my audience, but also those people are a lot more likely to become customers, because now we have a much closer relationship. It's not just soulless company and random indiscriminate consumer, but it's this person, this person. It's a lot more specific and a lot more personal as a result. Okay, merge tags, use them. So What is a merge tag? A merge tag is a special type of, it's like a text variable that you can put in emails. Using most email softwares, you're able to do this. Basically, what a merge tag does is when you sign up for an email list, sometimes you have surveys or forms or whatever that ask you for certain information like your name or your email, your cell phone, your address. It can vary, but the merge tags, that whatever software has that form, gathers that information, and you can use merge tags based on that information. So if a customer filled out their email and their name, the merge tag can be put in the email as if it were plain text. And then when the email is sent out, the software will find in their database where the person's name is for XYZ email. And then for XYZ email, when it gets sent out, that email is not going to have the merge tag code, but it will have the name they put in. So all of this to say, when you use merge tags, if you have an email that would normally be like, hello, valued customer, you can now say, hey, John, hey, Dave, hey, Robin, hey, Matthew, whatever. Hey, Ian, a lot more specific and a lot more likely to get a response because now people are thinking, oh, this is for me. This is not just some random, dime a dozen corporate email, but this is directed to me. So you want to use merge tags as much as you can. Most software will have these, and there's a lot of different things you can do with those. Okay, so next, be personal. Talk to customers like they would always talk to a friend or a colleague. So went over this before, but yeah, just don't come at your customers with a completely different tone or cadence or use of language than they're used to. Typically, if you're working with your customers, you're emailing with them or calling with them or meeting face to face, depending on your business. Or if you run a product-based business, you're getting reviews from them, things like that. You will have an idea of your customers. You can put down in a list all of your customers and what do they have in common? What are the shared things? All of that. So you want to use all of that to make your emails as personal as possible and not dime a dozen, because the more specific you are, the more likely to get a response. Okay, let's see here. One thing that gets me is when people open their email with a merge tag, i.e., Dear Mary, and then go on to say, I hope you all are doing well. You guys should check this out. I like to write as if I'm writing to the one person reading it. Yes. So merge tags are a great example of what I was talking about earlier of make sure to check these things on your own. Not just like mobile responsivity, check that, but also check your merge tags. So if you're sending out a bunch of emails, make sure that before you send them, before you send them out, you send out like one or two to your email or to test emails or to friends or coworkers or whatever, and make sure that they look right. The names are coming out right, that things are not becoming just jumbled and messed up. Because I have gotten my fair share of emails from big companies where it's like, dear XYTBZB customer name input XYZBTBD 10234 whatever, and it just completely ruins it. Because now I'm not thinking, oh, this is for me, but oh, this is just they suck at coding or they suck at managing their merge tags. So it completely kills the personal element, even more than if it just said dear valued customer. So you really want to do your homework and double check if you're using merge tags. But when done correctly, they work. But you have to make sure that you're doing that correctly. So it's good to double check those. And also, one additional thing you can do with some softwares is they have what are called fallbacks for merge tags. So what you can do with this is you have a merge tag and a certain variable will fulfill that merge tag. And if the variable is not found or it's not correct or there's some issue with it, like it doesn't look like a name, like if the merge tag is just numbers or letters or symbols, then instead of just putting the merge tag or putting nothing, it puts in some placeholder word. And this just gives you a lot of insurance and coverage against problems with the merge tags. So for example, you send out an email that says like, dear John, dear Matt, dear Peter, whatever, with the merge tag. And there's somebody who, for whatever reason, they type their name wrong, or there's a bunch of numbers or colons or whatever in there. It's not a valid name. and the algorithm can see that. Instead of just saying nothing, like dear blank space, comma, it would say dear customer or uh, dear friend or dear reader, something like that. Not as good as if it worked correctly, but a lot better than an empty space or broken code. So it's often good to check if your email software has fallbacks for those merge tags, because that can help cover you in those cases. Okay. And then always end with a call to action. So always make sure that when you're ending your emails, you say, buy this product or click this link or do whatever, because once you have people who are interested, you want to make sure that you don't just let them leave, but you turn them into paying customers. Okay. And all right. So anybody need a break? Because I could use some water.
Okay, yeah, let's give a 5 minute break.
All right.
And I'll pause our.
So we left off with email tips. So next up. All right. Here's an example of a well-written email that just does everything it's supposed to. This is obviously not formatted exactly as it would be in any specific email software, but it's just general formatting that could be applied to any of them. So brackets for the merge tags. Some it's going to be parentheses, some it's going to be the weird curvy parentheses. So it'll vary, but generally they all have some different symbol for the merge tags. And they usually have ways to just insert them manually, uh, like automatically. So you have your headline, you have your subheader, and here you have a headline, which is Sarnia Wedding Vendors, unveil your new website for $90. Nope, crossed out $0 today. So you have something that is specific and just something that is intriguing and has some clear benefit, some value. So those three things are really important. You want to have something specific and something that is giving you value and something that is you want to have something that is also urgent and intriguing. So I think those are both important, actually. So maybe four things, but you want to make sure that it's urgent as well, because urgency is going to be a great way to get people to click. So you want people to click on your email, and one great way to do that is to say, "Oh, here's this thing right now, or today, or in 2 hours, or what have you." So that way people are going to think, oh, wow, this is like, I got to go. I got to click on this now. Because if they don't think that, if they think, oh, this is valuable, this is specific, this is, it's whatever, but maybe I'll just come back after lunch, or I'll come back after dinner. I'll come back tomorrow. And some people never do because life is busy. Things come up. So you want to make sure you have some urgency, because that's going to guarantee a lot more people respond, because they're going to see it and they're going to think, I got to look at this right now. This is important enough that I got to do it right now. So urgency really helps with that. And then subheader is, here I went for something personal. So it can vary, of course, by email type, but since this is more of a personal type of email, small number of people receiving it, and it was people that the person knew first, like they knew face to face, they'd met, they'd worked together. So it made more sense to go with the personal approach. So how's your summer going? Merge tag name. So, Cecilia or Cassidy or Peter or John or whatever. And it's not so much of a like buy now or here's this thing or I am company, you are customer, but it is, how's your summer going? Something you might text to a friend, or something you might just say in passing to someone you talk to on the weekends. So it's much more casual and much more personal. And so that would be very good for this type of audience, where it's people that the person sending it knew face to face, they'd worked together in the past. And so here, after 3 months of back-to-back weddings, I am getting ready for a vacation. Funny how we always get slammed during summer break, right? So some context here. This is an email from a person who designs websites. This is something I wrote for this person, but they write websites and build websites and design and whatever for people who are wedding vendors. So they arrange for the flowers or the location or certain like all these different things for the wedding industry, basically. But they are the people who provide all of these things so that weddings can happen. And so this person makes websites for those people. So his customers are wedding vendors. So the first thing I did when I was hired was, okay, what do wedding vendors care about? What are the words they use? What are the issues they have? Well, weddings can be pretty stressful. There's a lot involved there. So my focus was, okay, weddings can be stressful. Let's make it easier on wedding vendors. What wouldn't you like so much to have less work to do, to have less stress, to have somebody else in your corner to take off a little bit of that edge and last minute rushing to get things done? And I'm that person because I'll take care of your website for you. So there you see, I figured out my reader, these wedding vendors, and I learned about them, what makes them tick, what are their issues, what are they concerned about. And once I did all that, the idea naturally followed. Oh, I will make it easier for you because you're concerned about stress and about work-life balance and things like that. And then after that, I knew what to offer and I knew what action I wanted them to do. So how's the summer going, Jan or whatever? Let's say Jan. After 3 months of back-to-back weddings, I am getting ready for a vacation. Funny how we always get slammed during summer break, right? So it's a joke, it's funny, lighthearted, but also it's communicating. I understand what you're going through. I've been there too. So some more context, this person who makes websites for wedding vendors, he had been a wedding photographer for many years beforehand. So he had worked in the wedding industry. And this was important because it was his what's called a USP. So I'll just explain that real quick. A USP is a unique selling proposition. It is something that a business does or has that makes it unlike any other business that does what it does. So if you have a flower store and it's the only flower store in the entire city that makes, I don't know, eco-friendly flowers that are, I'm going to roll with it. Eco-friendly flowers that do not have any negative effects on the environment, then that is your unique selling proposition. You can put that on banners, you can put that on advertisements, and it'll make it so that whenever somebody's like, well, why should I buy your flowers, not someone else's? You say, well, because, and there's the USP. And so his USP, unique selling proposition, is I am a web designer who works for wedding vendors specifically and was a wedding vendor. So I get it. I understand and I know what is important about this industry and what needs to be on your website and all those things. So I get it a lot more than other wedding web designers will. So it's a much more personal and a much more targeted, specific service. And so communicating that is really important. That's why I did that. So there's a joke, it's funny, lighthearted. Also, it's communicating this specific thing. This is I am making websites for you, but I'm not like everybody else. So you want to try and do this with your emails, is to have something in there that communicates why you're better or different than everybody else who does what you do, who sells what you sell, because that way you can stand out from the crowd. So whatever it is, but there's always usually something. Okay. And then it says, but before we kick off our shoes and unwind, ask yourself this. Okay, so now you see how this is structured into these sections that are each one sentence or like two, but pretty easy to read, not too hard on the eyes. And there's also these big bits that grab your attention. So designed to be very easy to read. Just you always want to try and write things like it's a bunch of eighth graders who are going to read it. Like imagine like you're writing a textbook for eighth graders who are slacking off in or studying very hard in history class. What would you write to make sure that there's the least possible chance that they're not going to their eyes aren't going to glaze over and they're going to abandon and flip to another page and start throwing spitballs. You're going to want to make sure that it's as readable as possible, as much as possible. Try to avoid the textbook vibe, the academic vibe, the like, oh gosh, I have to read this by uh, trying to channel your inner high school, your inner college, and try to try as much as possible to let that feeling direct you towards readable, easy stuff. So, like this, it's very, very easy to read. People are going to be more likely to read it as a result. Okay, and then this question, is your website working for you? So, this is basically the offer or the more of the idea condensed as much as possible into the fewest possible words. So what I'm trying to say above all else is, okay, uh, are you too stressed or too overwhelmed with your job? And if so, is like could help? That's what I want to communicate, and I can help by doing your website, and your website, if completed in that way, will do a bunch of work for you. So you're overwhelmed, you have all this work you have to deal with. Let your website do some of that work for you, make your life easier, make your job easier. And so that's the idea condensed. You want to have the idea as clear as possible in a way that your reader will get it, because, and also just a pain point, triggering a pain point as well, which is also really good. Sometimes there's what's known in copywriting as a PAS sequence. So um, basically what PAS is pain, aggravate, solution. So what this would entail is you have your idea, and that idea is not just an idea, but it's also a solution to some problem the customer has. So in my case, the idea is um, I will, or this person I'm representing, but I'll just say I will build your website for you, your wedding vendor website. And that's is a solution to the problem the wedding vendors have of I have too much work to do. How can I have less work to do? And so my approach would be first to take that problem and say, oh, remember that problem you have? You have it. Ah, that's so bad for you. And then to poke them a little bit and be like, wow, that problem really sucks. Oh, but here's the solution that's going to fix it for you. It's going to be really great. So pain and then aggravate it and then solutions. You want to just make it so that the person is reading and they're like, oh, right, I have that problem. And then they have, oh gosh, it's really bad. And it's like, oh man. And then as soon as they're just like really frustrated and really just ready to just give up, or just ready to just like for any answer really, then the solution. And it's just like the clouds part and it's, oh, thank goodness. Now I'm safe. So that structure. This is a more of a less of a perfect following the formula, but more of a general what I'm doing here is poking that pain point. Is your website working for you? Are you doing more work than you have to because of your website? Are you? And poking that until they are now more interested in having website work. Okay, and then continue. As a wedding photographer nearing my 10th year, Mazel Tov. I know the work you put in. Sleepless nights, bridezilla meltdowns, pouring rain. Yeah, this job ain't a piece of cake. So again, just saying, I get you, right? You want to say to your audience, I get you. And you want to understand what it is you're getting, because that's how you say it. You can't just say like, I get you, but you want to understand your audience, what makes them tick, what they care about, their issues and their experiences, and then write to those and try and uh, empathize with those and understand those and speak to those as much as possible. And that's how you make your emails way more compelling. And so that's what I'm doing there. The whole point of that section is to say, I get you, and here is why I know this experience, that experience. I know this issue, this issue, this issue, and I can fix them. Okay, and then, but it isn't grueling, or at least it shouldn't be. So if you're feeling overworked right now, maybe you are. So again, poking that problem, making it more aggravating, and now uh, flipping it and making it. So what I'm doing here is sometimes what's really helpful in marketing is to take a problem and frame it as coming from some external source, so that instead of it being like some people thinking like, oh man, I just got to work on this problem myself and just like get over it and fix it, they will now think, oh wait, the problem is there, it's like over here, and I just need to get rid of this thing over here and this solution will do that. So it's a lot harder, say, to sell something that will just change you. But if there's this thing, you can change that much easier. So they're just trying to take the problem and redirect it to an external source. So they have this problem. It's in the back of their mind. They might not even know why. Now I'm saying, here's why. Here's why. So um, in doing so, attaching um, the idea I have to the problem. And that's really key because without that, this wouldn't work. So I mentioned earlier how you have the idea and the idea is a solution to the problem. Well, not always the case that the reader understands that. So that's why it's really important to make that clear to the reader. So I have this email where it's people are overworked, they're very busy, and oh, I make websites and I'll make your website. But if I just had those two, it wouldn't work because there's no clear connection. There needs to be the part where it says, oh, aren't you feeling overworked? Aren't you doing too much? Well, maybe it's not because you need to work harder. Maybe it's because you need something that will do some of that work for you. And that's the website. And now there's that connection from a problem to this is why you have the problem. And this is why my solution fixes the problem. And now the solution. So now you've directed them, your customer, from the problem they have to the solution you have. So it's always good to use language to make that clear, always. Okay, couples booked 90% of vendors online in 2023, and they want the best. Using an outdated website, that means more work for you, less for your competitors. So there, using statistics is a great way to back up whatever you're saying. So any claim you want to make, if you can use statistics to reinforce it or give it some weight or some materiality, it's not just you saying it, but it's also these researchers, these experts, or this thing that just increases the legitimacy. This is what's called social proof in marketing. So the idea that what you're saying has weight beyond just you saying it, but also other people are saying it, or it's backed by these statistics. So those are always a great way if you're trying to persuade people. So if you've already mentioned the problem, you've already mentioned the solution, you're connecting them, and they're not completely sold, a statistic or an expert or something or other things like that is a really great way to make that connection stronger and make it more legitimate, make it stick in the mind of your reader. Because they're not going to think, oh, it's just Joe Schmo, Ian Talty saying this, but oh, this is backed by statistics, it's backed by research. As long as there's like a clear connection, you can do that. Okay, and then also repeating the problem from before and making it worse now, because now it's not just you have more work to do, but also your competitors have less. So you're actually losing customers. So just making the problem worse and worse and worse. And now, why not get a leg up too? Now it's just basically, this is the point where it's like the clouds are dark and they're just like, oh gosh, what do I do? And this is the point where you unveil the solution. So join a free 15-minute call with a web designer who knows weddings inside and out. Leave with a sneak preview of your new website, normally $90, completely on the house. Apply now or click here, and there would be an embedded Calendly link to unveil your once-in-a-lifetime design for dazzling couples and competitors. Talk soon, Adam. So here you have the call to action and the offer. And here what's interesting is there is like a sort of two call to actions, but the way that the thing is they're linked because they're both one really. So the join the free call and the click the link, they're both the same thing basically, because the link just leads to the call. So again, you want to have just one call to act, like one fundamental thing that you want your reader to do, and make sure that everything is directing them towards that. Okay, and then also you have your offer. So you don't just want to just say like, okay, click the link, but also click the link and you get this, or you get that, or you get XYZ. That's a great way to just help convince people who are on the fence and also sweeten the deal for people who are already interested. Now they're going to be much more loyal customers. Okay, and then also this thing at the end, the talk soon, Adam. This is something that was really good for newsletters and newsletter type emails. Something personal, like a closer, like sincerely or regards or talk soon. It it doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds a lot to people who are reading it because it makes it seem more like a personal note, personal letter, as opposed to just some marketing gobbledygook. So really good to include that for more personal type emails. So the newsletter type and things like this, where it's I'm a person, you're a person, not I'm a soulless corporation, you're a customer 1,073,000,000. So good to have that at the end as well. Okay. And here we have a bad email. So it did not take long to find this in my spam inbox. And I find it very helpful because it just does so much wrong all at once. Um, First of all, the from section is completely unused. It's from Ross, Jalara 56, Joel 68. So this is really bad because it's just a bunch of numbers and things, and it's not really consistent. So are you Ross or are you Jalara? Who are you? You want your from section to be very clear and know who it is. And it doesn't have like a ton of numbers, but it's more straightforward and simple if possible. Ideally, you want to have like the name of the person, um, either full name or first name, maybe some numbers if needed, but like don't make it super complicated. So that way people read that and they think, oh, this is John Smith or Adam Carolla or whoever, Jane Connor. This is not uh, just Spammer 35. And also the title too, terrible. It tells me nothing about what I'm going to be reading aside from it's going to be about SEO, but like there's a bajillion emails about SEO. What is different? What is unique? Why do I care? It even has a grammatical error. So there's a lot of stuff going wrong here. Um, and then also different fonts, different formatting, different highlighting, and you have formatting that's mid-sentence, which is very, very strange. So a lot of things that you typically want to avoid. This is, I talked earlier about um, how you can have differences in formatting, right? So you have some things are bold, some things are a little bigger, some things are italicized, you have bullets, things like that can be good, but within reason. This is an example of when you take it too far. This is just completely ridiculous. This is like, I read this and I would immediately think, no matter what, that this is just a scam because it just looks so bizarre. The blue highlight, the yellow highlight, the orange text, it's just what is going on. So they're an example of what not to do. So make sure your title, your subject line is has some specificity. Make sure it has some urgency. Make sure it has something telling me what I'm going to be reading about, what your customer is going to be reading about. Make sure the front page is clearly written so that it's from a person and not just a scammer or ambiguous. And then make sure that your formatting is within reason. And also, in terms of content, make sure that you're giving something for people to click on. So something intriguing, and then something of value offered. So not just, hey, I found some stuff on your website. Want me to send a screenshot? Send the screenshot. If you were even gonna do this, send the screenshot. Because if you're just saying like, oh, do you want me to give you the thing that I promised? No, give it first. You're the one who's reaching out, so you got to have some value, and then people can come back and there's a and there's a relationship developed. So a lot of things there to show you what not to do. Okay, for your email list. So how do you build your list? Well, there's a lot of different things you can do. Generally, building a list just means you go out and you find people who like your stuff, like your products, like your service, like you or your company, and you ask them to sign up for an email, newsletter or an email mailing list or whatever, and you just build up enough of those until you have a list, and that's it. The way you do that can vary. There are some cases where people will buy lists. I generally would not recommend doing this. First of all, it's not going to be great if you're on a budget, and second of all, you're going to have a very hard time with deliverability if you're sending to people on a completely cold, like just a list you bought off the internet or something. So generally, not something I would recommend. Uh, Not to mention opt-in lists are a lot more personalized to begin with. So opt-in is generally better, which just means people who sign up from something that they met in person, or they're from your website or your social media, as opposed to just cold email where you just bought some list of names off the internet and now you're going to send out emails into the void, into their inboxes, maybe. So generally, opt-in is better. And so you can do that through pop-ups on your website or footer forms. And most email softwares will have integrations for this. So HubSpot, Zapier, Go High Level. I mean, a lot of these softwares, you'll see that, and even like some of the more simple ones, especially like Mailchimp and ActiveCampaign, like things like that, which are more like budget softwares for email marketing. They will have integrations for these sorts of things, mainly through WordPress, but also through Squarespace as well. So there are options for doing pop-ups and footer forms. And so basically, you can just uh, have a pop-up on the website, sign up for the email list or our email list. And yes, David you make a really good point. A lot of CRMs are forbidding this too. There's very few where you're going to be able to do a lot of cold email, and even there's a lot of concerns with just deliverability and Gmail. Uh, there are some like Instantly, I know you can do cold email with it, but even there, it's like you're risking getting banned or getting account restrictions on your Gmail account or whatever you're sending from. So not only is it, not very good for your budget, and deliverability is a concern, but it's risky. So really just stay away from that. Okay. And so pop-ups, footer forms. Um, Generally for these, what you want to do is just have some pop-up on your website, sign up for the email list, and something of value in return will be given when you sign up. So a lead magnet is what it's usually called. So a lead magnet is really anything of value that is given in return for signing up for the email newsletter or email list or whatever it is. So there'll be some examples on the next page of those. Okay. You can also require email addresses with purchases and then have optional marketing opt-ins, like a checklist, like check this if you want to get marketing emails with cool offers and great things and whatever. You create advertisements on social media, promoting your newsletters. This is especially good for newsletters because social media, because it's a lot less, you have a lot less control. It's a lot more just a wide marketplace of different people all interacting. It's great to start with newsletter there or newsletter type content. And then you reach out to a lot more people. And from those people, some are interested. Now you get them on your newsletter by sending the email link. And now you can start selling to them. Because social media, it's going to be a lot harder to control, a lot harder to sell, but it is going to be easier to reach people because there's more people than you can have an email list. So social media is really great for that. For just take your email content, your newsletter content, or your email mailing list, and just put some of that on social media. So if you make an email that's like a 20% off on cookies, because you're a cookie store, let's say, you could then take that idea or that offer and repost it on Facebook or post it on TikTok or wherever your social media presence is. And now a lot more people are going to come and buy your cookies from that. And also some of them you might be like, oh, you're interested in getting more offers for cookies? Well, here's this email list. You'll get them as soon as they come out. You'll get more offers. You'll get better offers. And so now from social media, you have these people who are becoming email list members and customers. And also promote your email on blogs, physical storefronts. So this is also just places that you control to some extent, but again, it's more of an interacting marketplace of different people. So blogs are on the internet where you have less control than your email list, and physical storefronts. Well, I guess physical storefronts are better in some respects, but also those people can always walk out, go to a different store. So you want to always try and also like they're not always going to be in the store. We can talk to them. So again, you want to try and those people get them on your email list where now you can reach out to them at XYZ time, XYZ day. So you have that method of communication. So yeah, promoting it wherever you can, wherever you have reach, try and take that reach and funnel all the people you're reaching into the email list and then into the customers. So You have your social media, your website, you have your email list members, and then you have your customers. So bring them all down this to the funnel where they're all customers. Okay. And then collecting emails at checkout and hosting events to sign up new prospects. So this is something that I worked for a pest control company, and they did this. They would had like a community day in Philadelphia, and so they just promote the event a bunch, have singers and people and bands and whatever. And if you want to get a ticket or get free offers or like get a picture with some minor celebrity who's coming, sign up for our email list. You'll get a chance to win, and so on and so on. So yeah. Oh wow. Oh, boy. All right. So I'm going to have to speed this up a bit. Okay. So lead magnet ideas. So there's a whole bunch here. Um, I'll just go over a couple, and then I can also email this information, or anybody has questions or wants some of the bits from the slides, the presentation, I can always send those over too. What I'll do is I'll leave my email in the chat, since I don't know how much time I'll have to go over every single thing in detail, but um, any questions or would like any of the informational slides from today's presentation. Okay. And there we go. All right. Let me just, oh, sorry about that. Let me send that again. So if you have any questions or you'd like any of the informational slides from the presentation, left my email in the chat. That way you can reach out that way. And I can send, like, I have PDFs, pictures of all the different things from the slide and from the presentation. Okay. So lead magnet ideas. So whole bunch, and there's a whole bunch more on the next page. So you can always look at more too. There's plenty of ideas on the internet and other places, but generally it'll depend on your business model. Maybe it's a discount, maybe it's a free trial, maybe it's a free product, maybe it's a free book or coaching or an event ticket, or maybe it's something like an informational book, PDF, webinar, whatever. But generally, you want to have something that you give people if they sign up for your emails, because giving an email, it doesn't cost anything, but it is something, not at least in terms of money, but it is costing them something in terms of time and attention. By putting you in their inbox, now they're going to give you some of their time, some of their attention, some of their emails, like space, disk space. So you want to give them something in return to reward that. Some more ideas: quiz, giveaway, survey, Facebook group, membership site. Challenge is a really good one, for example. So if you have a challenge, just like, do X, Y, and Z, or like do X, Y, and Z with our product, and see if you can do this. It's like, I don't know, let's say a soda company. It's like, oh, see if you can flip our soda 3 times and then open it and not have it fizz around. And if you do, email us about it, and we'll send you free soda for a month or whatever. An idea. So, okay. Some tips about your lists. So first of all, again, don't buy email lists. A lot of risks involved with that. And it's much better just to get them organically. It's going to be a lot better for your business and a lot better in terms of deliverability and everything. So just stay away from buying lists. Email consistently. 2 to 3 months is ideal. Once a week is even better. And several times a week, if you can manage that, is even better. But as long as you're doing it consistently, that's really key. And you don't have to do it all the time. You can do a lot of email writing in a certain like in 1 month, and then like stockpile and then schedule the emails throughout the rest of the year, if that's what works best for you. But a lot of softwares have that functionality. But just the idea of always be consistently posting, because if you don't post for several months, then people are going to think that they're going to fall out of interest, or they're going to stop engaging, and the habit will be lost. They won't be in the habit of reading your emails every Wednesday or every Thursday or every second week of the month. And then you lose those customers gradually as a result. Once a month, I think, would be a good minimum if you're going to send emails at all. Okay. Clean your list periodically. So make sure you're removing inactive subscribers at least once a year. So that way you don't have deliverability hits and things like that. Send win back campaigns to people who have not been engaged for a while. So just like, oh, you haven't been engaged. Would you like this offer? Would you like this thing? Please come back. So try to get those people back into engaging. And this way you'll be less likely to get marked with spam because clean lists means the algorithm likes you. Okay, and then also follow CAN spam regulations. So CAN spam, just a bunch of laws against spammy type emails, but you want to follow these so you avoid getting in trouble with uh, any different regulatory bodies, government agencies, whatever, getting fined by email providers. You don't want that. So nothing false, nothing misleading in your header. Um, so obviously a bit of marketing embellishment is okay. Like if it's some interesting secret, you can be like, wow, the secret is amazing. Like it's going to blow your mind. You're not going to get sued because like it didn't literally cause their head to explode. But if you say like um, this piece of knowledge will cure cancer, it doesn't. That's false. That's a lie. Don't do that. So just you can obviously use a little exaggeration, but just nothing completely misleading. Okay. And include your physical postal address if you have one, or just general area if you don't. But you want to have some place where people can mail things or whatever, so that you're just following all the regulations. And then also make sure you tell your recipients of every email how to opt out from the emails. So they need to know how to get out of getting your emails if they don't want to get them, because otherwise, again, they can mark it as spam. They can get really mad. They can make things worse for you in terms of deliverability. And also, it's against the law. You are not allowed to just try and hold people hostage in your email list by making it really confusing and difficult to unsubscribe and get out of emails. So make it really straightforward and simple. It'll just be best for everybody that way. Okay. And 5, email platforms. So what are some good email platforms? So here's a handful that are pretty good: Flowdesk, Infusionsoft, Campaign Monitor, Constant Contact, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign. Most of these more on budget side of email software. So they're not going to have all the bells and whistles, but they're going to be pretty affordable and approachable. And I think that's a really good starting place for anyone looking to get into email marketing, because in some ways, you don't even need all those bells and whistles if you're just getting started. It might actually make things more difficult, more confusing. And yeah, and also price is better too. So that's helpful. Okay, so Flowdesk, lowest plan, gets you 35 a month. And this is going to get you up to 14,000 email sends, and you can design the emails and customize them however you like. And so just a lot of functionality there. Then MailChimp. MailChimp's basically the most ubiquitous email software there is. Uh, oh, okay, we have a question. I have Shopify. What do you think of using Shopify email marketing? Yes, so Shopify is a great option if you're looking to do like email marketing on top of other things, like you have a Shopify website, I presume. So what's great about that is you're able to do a lot of different things with one software. And so you're going to maybe end up paying more for that software, or possibly not, but there's a potential of paying more for that software. But the benefit is you end up getting a lot more functionality, and in a way end up paying less because all of the different things you would have paid for separately are bundled together. So I think it's really good if you can have something like Shopify or Go High Level or any CRM, which bundles a lot of different services into one service. It's really great because you're able to kill a lot of birds with one stone. So I think that's good if you're able to do that, if it works for your budget. Okay. Yeah. MailChimp, $20 a month, pretty cheap. And it's just the ubiquitous industry standard email software, been around forever, gives you up to 6,000 emails. And you really can't go wrong with this one if you're just getting started. This is like the most commonly known email software, and with good reason. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So MailChimp, and then Constant Contact, 35 a month. This one has a $12 a month light version, very cheap, which can be beneficial, but also you'll have limitations on contacts. It's not exactly a set amount, but more just varies depending on your situation. So I would look into that and see if it meets your needs. But I would say generally, if you get the light version, you may have some issues if you have like more than a couple thousand, like a few, 2, 3, 4,000 email sends, you might run into some issues with that. Okay, and then Active Campaign, 29 a month. And this one has some WordPress integrations and things. So if you're looking to do WordPress for your website hosting, it can be really great to go with Active Campaign. So, and all of these have different pros and cons as well. There are other softwares that have more functionality. So A and B testing is one big thing. Basically, that just means like you can compare how did this email do against this email, which one did better, and algorithm automatically takes the better one and runs that more often in future campaigns, stuff like that. So all sorts of different functionality add-ons for more expensive, more comprehensive email softwares. But if you're just looking to get started, these four are a pretty good foundation. Okay, and some notes. Instantly is best for cold email, but your mileage may vary. Again, want to typically avoid cold email, but if for whatever reason you're doing it on a small scale, then that's pretty much your best bet. But yeah, again, there's a lot of concerns with cold email, so keep that in mind. And merge tags are a big feature, so make sure to check if your email software provider has them. So it's very, very important to see if they have that merge tag functionality, because it's a really, really great thing to have with any email software campaign. And then also CRMs like HubSpot, Go High Level. These can be a lot more cost effective depending on your needs. So Shopify would, I think, also apply in this case if you're doing web hosting plus email. So these are services that bundle a lot of different marketing avenues, marketing channels together, and then sell that as one package. And so if you're looking to do a lot of different marketing for your business, then these can be better. But of course, there is the concern that there's more price, and there's also more time investment because there's more stuff you have to learn. So you may want to consider if you want to start with email marketing and then branch out to other things, or go all in with something that bundles everything together for a more on the whole discounted price. And then also almost every software here gives free trials. Like email software is like one of the most commonly free trial things ever. You can get free trials for HubSpot, for Go High Level, for Mail, like for basically any of these. You can go up to them, give them an email address, they'll give you a free trial. So use it, sign up, see if you like it. I mean, you can even, you don't have to like, I know that they'll ask for like financial information or whatever, like credit card, but you can also cancel immediately. And as long as you still, as long as you provided your email or whatever, like you're still going to get the service. So you can sign up, cancel, and then you just get the service for the 7 days or whatever, and then you lose it. And so you don't automatically get charged that way. And so if you like the service, then you can re-sign up and then you'll get charged and then you'll use it. But if you don't, it's fine. Because if you just sign up and then immediately cancel, then there's no problem. Like there's no issue with, oh, am I going to get charged later because I forgot? So something to keep in mind. You can always sign up and cancel as soon as you sign up. And that way you're not on the hook for money later on. And that way you can just figure out, is this software best for me? Does this fit my needs? Do I want to try something else? Okay, Anosha Singh, what are bounced emails and should I delete those emails? So that's a great question. So bounced emails are when you have emails that you send out to certain people and they don't actually get to those people. They don't go to their inbox and they don't even go to the spam, but they just don't arrive. So these are definitely people you want to delete from your list because either the email account is not valid or they blocked you or there's something going on there. But this is not helpful for the algorithm at all if you're getting bounced emails. Typically, if you're getting a lot of them, you might want to look into something with your deliverability. So there might be some technical issues. There's typically a handful of things you want to do. 3 major steps: SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. And I don't really have a lot of time to go into that, but there are people you can talk to for those. What if they bounce one time, then don't bounce the next? So, interesting question. So I would say if you have somebody who bounced once and now they haven't, I would keep them in the email list tentatively and just continue to observe and see what their customer behavior is. And based on that behavior, make a determination, keep them in the list or not keep them in the list. Because it's possible that it was a one-time error, it's possible that Maybe they were not interested in your emails and now they are. Things could have changed, but it's better to wait and see in that situation. Yeah, yeah, no problem. All right, let's see. All right, so thank you. That is it for me. That's for the presentation. And if anybody has any more questions, I can take those now. And also later, this is my email, iantalti2003@gmail.com, and my phone number, 1-872-301-7842. So email marketing questions, concerns, what have you. I am here to help with whatever I can, or direct you to the people who are more knowledgeable um, in certain respects, like such as deliverability, technical things like that. Uh, David Farr asked, "Are you one of the Elevate Hennepin?" Oh, let me see. Oh boy. Okay, let's start with David. All right, David Farr, are you one of the Elevate Hennepin advisors we get access to? So I'm not officially working for Hennepin County. No, I would have to say no, not at the moment. Um, but I am available if you have questions. And also, there are plenty of Elevate Hennepin advisors that you can talk to for questions. So I'd recommend if you have questions regarding Elevate Hennepin to direct those to those people. Also, consider, okay, beautiful brown girl. Also consider that the email address could be spelled incorrectly. Oh yes, for the bounce, yes. So yeah, for issues with bounces, that can also be a possibility. The software made a mistake, so it's good to always give benefit of the doubt. If somebody is now engaging, then and they weren't before, to see what happens, see if they're engaging more, and then leave them in the list or remove them if they're not. Okay, and then Kate Brown, what is a good open rate that we should aim for? I'm currently at getting about 40% opens, but I have a smaller email list. So that's a great question, and it depends a lot. Oh, excuse me. It depends a lot on the exact context of what you're selling, what your email type is, and your audience. So generally, I'd say 40% opens pretty good. If you're for newsletter, I would say, uh, I mean, yeah, I think there certainly could be room for improvement, but that's not bad. I think that's pretty good. You also want to look at click-through rate as well. So how many people of those who open are then clicking on the links and the information and replying and engaging in those things. So uh, that's a really important number as well, because you can see based on that, okay, if your opens aren't as good as you want, improve the subject line, improve the preview text, improve the deliverability. But if the open rate's good and the CTR is bad, the click-through rate is bad, then it's not so much that and more of improve the body copy, improve the call to action, improve all of that stuff. So you can just determine based on what statistics aren't where you need them to be, what needs improving the most. All right. Any other questions? Welcome.
I was just going to add to David. Yeah, so David, so our nonprofit is registered under Elevate Hennepin Advisors. So if you needed to reach out to Ian, we can point you to Ian as well. And you guys do have his information, so feel free to reach out to him.
All right, and some more contact information. So if you need any, get in touch with any Hennepin advisors. Uh, and yes.
Yeah, so
All
Asian
right.
Media Access is the certified Elevate Hennepin advisor. So just reach out to us and we can get in touch with Ian. And if you guys need help with email marketing, feel free to contact Ian.
Okay, and then one more question from Anosha Singh. I got most of my emails by offering free samples, and I got 500 emails overnight. Should I consider those as my true customers? Well, I wouldn't consider them customers yet, since you've given them something for free. They haven't bought. So, but I would say that they're more than just engaged readers. There are people who have now entered into a sort of transactional relationship. So I would say they're somewhere in between just interested reader and full-blown customer. And so I would treat them accordingly. You're not quite there yet where you're just trying to say, oh, buy now, but you want to get to that point relatively soon. That's somewhere in between.
Okay, looks, any other
Okay.
questions, last minute questions? Again, feel free to reach out to Ann. I know there's a lot of content. Thank you, Ann, for presenting a lot of good information. Thank you all for participating. We will post the videos soon. And next week, our workshop will be on ChatGPT and AI tools to help small businesses. So I'll look forward to seeing you all. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. See you all next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.